Over here. I finally pressed the right button. Welcome to Building SaaS on AWS. I'm your host, Derek Bingham. I'm a developer advocate at AWS. And if you haven't seen this show before, we talk about over the next, 30, 45 minutes, an hour, we might talk for a while, about best practices and things that you can do while you're building your next SaaS project, or indeed improve your existing SaaS project. So today I'm joined by Christopher from AWS and Sam from CircleCI, because today we're going to be talking about CircleCI a lot. So gentlemen, would you like to introduce yourselves a bit more?
Sure. Christopher Logan, I am the Senior Manager for Solutions Architecture here at AWS. And I'll hand over to Sam.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Derek. My name is Sam Olukotun. I am a Senior Solutions Engineer here at CircleCI.
Cool. Well, it's fantastic to have you both on the show. This show, so we have two actual episodes of Building SaaS on AWS these days. We have our EMEA, or a European-friendly version, and this is our APJ, or Asia-Pacific friendly version. But I know that Sam is in LA and Christopher is in Sydney, and I'm in Perth in Western Australia. So we've got quite a global show happening today. So Christopher, I think probably we'll start off with maybe telling the viewers what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, so very briefly, founded in 2011, CircleCI is a CICD platform. It can run in the cloud. It can run on your own infrastructure. So for those moving to CICD or seeking something more efficient and better and more functional, so today we want to explore just how CircleCI can help you build SaaS on AWS. So let me hand it over to Sam to give a better overview.
All right. Thank you, Christopher. And I'm just going to share a few slides here real quickly. I know we don't like to bore engineers with slides.
we don't, Sam. This point out, there'll be lots of demos.
Exactly. Yes. We will make it up in demos later on.
Yeah.
So can you see my screen right now, Derek?
Yep. So we can see your screen. If you just make it bigger, you can kick off with the slides. There we go.
Fabulous.
Perfect. Awesome.
Right. So as Christopher had pointed out, CircleCI is a CI/CD platform. And at a glance, we are a platform that aims to empower engineering teams to automate your development processes quickly, safely, and also to do that at scale. CircleCI is currently the world's largest shared platform for CI/CD, and that's coming from the fact that we build over 2 million CI/CD pipelines per day on AWS. Now, these pipelines are being built by active developers, about 1 million active developers spread across 40,000 organizations. And at the heart of the platform, CircleCI is aiming to improve engineering productivity and also aiming to help get software to market with speed and confidence. We are ranked as a leader in cloud-native CI by Forrester, and also we are one of the few companies on Deloitte's list of Technology Fast 550. So at a high level, that's CircleCI from the business perspective. On the technical side, CircleCI, like I mentioned already, helps software teams validate, build, ship, push their changes out quickly, confidently, and also to do that at scale. CircleCI itself as a platform sits between what we consider to be your sources of change. So this would be things like your source control, your image repositories, and between what we consider to be your consumers of change. So this could be the platforms that you deploy to, or if we look at it in a bigger picture, this could just be your customers who use your application. The CircleCI itself as a platform sits in the middle, and we aim to automate all the tasks related to your building, to testing, deploying, and releasing software. So at a high level, that's CircleCI. I'm going to stop with the slides for now, and we're going to talk more later.
Bye-bye slides. Bye. Christopher, have you got anything you want to dive a little bit deeper into?
Unmuted.
Unmute. Yes, we have it on mute. Yay!
Every time unmuting. So look, so Sam, you've shown us a bit about how CircleCI fits in, and it'd be good to understand just what that ecosystem does look like, and also, the big thing about the CICD is not always what can that do, but what can it integrate with? What does it hook up to? What is it? How does it fit into an entire build system and an ecosystem? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, certainly I can, Christopher. And coincidentally, I have a slide that shows that as well, but we're going to pause on slides for now, and we'll just talk through this. Instead, what I would like to direct everyone's attention to is a page on CircleCI, circleci.com/developers. And actually, do you mind if I just share my screen while I walk through?
You bring that up, Sam. Yeah. It's okay if it's a web page. We can go with web pages. So if you share your screen there, I'll push it up on the stream for you.
So I want to show you here circleci.com/developer. And this is a great place to come whether you're starting on CircleCI new or you're an experienced user. This is a great page to start because it has a lot of resources for getting quickly started on CircleCI. It has on-demand courses you can use to deepen your knowledge of CircleCI, as well as language guides. In addition to that, we have more information in terms of like insights, orbs, and more helpful resources. Now, the reason why I brought this up after Christopher's questions is because of this tab over here that speaks to the integrations. So clicking here, you'll see all the tools that CircleCI integrates with. And this is one of the big areas where CircleCI delivers value as a non-opinionated orchestration platform that allows you to integrate with any third-party tool that you want to use as part of your CI/CD pipeline. So just getting a high-level overview here, you can see already we have a whole suite of AWS integrations that users can just pick and drop into their configurations right away, thereby saving them time on getting up and running quickly. And these integrations span several categories. We've got everything from artifacts, build, infrastructure automation, security testing. So a lot of tools, a lot of third-party tools, a lot of concerns that may come as part of the CI/CD process. CircleCI already has integrations for a lot of those. And so that's why I showed that circleci.com/developer page, because that's a great place to go get started to see all the resources that CircleCI already has available for you.
Cool, very cool. I put a little overview of the URL as well. So if anybody didn't get it initially, there it is, circleci.com/developer. Awesome. Cool. So that's how we can get started. And you went through popular integrations, I believe. But the next question we've got really, Sam, for you is so CI is really it is core infrastructure. So it touches probably a lot of internal systems. So it deploys to your various environments. But if I say have an existing CI system like Jenkins, how easy would it be for me to migrate, say, into CircleCI or indeed set it up for the first time?
Yeah, right. That's a great question. It's something that comes up in a lot of conversations with customers. And what we've seen is the amount of work it takes to migrate from those legacy platforms differs based on the amount of customization they've already built into there, the amount of time and resources they've invested into fleshing out those legacy platforms. At a high level, however, if you're coming from something like Jenkins in particular, CircleCI has a service, a tool that we've built that allows you to migrate Jenkins configs to CircleCI config. So that's a good starting point for getting your configuration from Jenkins files closer to what they should look like in CircleCI. Once you've got into that, what we provide again is a library of tutorials and sample configurations that show you how to take advantage of the core features on CircleCI. I bring that up because one of the things we see with new customers coming onto CircleCI from any platform is, and I don't think this is only a CI/CD thing, it happens when people migrate from one tool to another, is they tend to repeat the same patterns they were using with the previous tools and try to use it on the new platform. However, there might be some features, there might be some other patterns that are more native to that platform you're migrating to that will give you more efficiencies and allow you to implement or at least to get to where you're going in a better, more efficient fashion. So in recognition of that, and in order to enable people to take advantage of CircleCI's core features when they migrate, we also have value-added services where we have DevOps customer engineers. So these are dedicated engineers who are familiar with CircleCI's platform and can help customers tweak and fine-tune their configs to take advantage of best practices on CircleCI and to leverage advanced features that they might not be aware of coming onto CircleCI for the first time. So to summarize all of that as to how easy it is for people to come onto CircleCI, number one, it all depends on what you're starting with and how complex that is. If you're coming from Jenkins in particular, we have a tool that gets you on the way to getting a CircleCI configuration file. In addition to that, we have support engineers who are there to help you and assist you leverage the core features of the platform.
Very cool. One question I have is, so if I'm, I have an existing CI server and it has, as you say, bespoke integrations and bespoke challenges that require dedicated support engineers, would I have to pay to have those engineers help me out?
Oh, Derek, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could all get help for free? Well, the good thing is CircleCI does provide a tier of support that comes for free with all our plans. In addition to that, the thing with things that are free is that if something is free, everybody wants it. And so you're not always going to get a response quickly because our support engineers get swamped with the volume of requests on the free tier. What we offer for teams that need more rapid, more consistent, or SLAs for response times, for instance, are advanced levels of support. So with that, you can get more customized support and also get more layers of additional value-added services that we can provide on top of just responding to support tickets.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool, Sam. Yeah, I'll stop asking the awkward, hard questions.
we all, hey, someone's got to ask those questions, so let's do it.
Christopher, what was your question? What's your next?
I set up an altar and prayed to the demo gods today to see. Hopefully we can actually see something in like enough talk about here is a hypothetical CircleCI. Sam, let's see how it works.
All right. Let's see if your prayers are answered.
Demo time.
If not, I'm praying to the wrong gods.
Or maybe you have some sins you haven't paid that for yet. So that's good. Okay, so we are back to the circleci.com/developer page. Again, like I mentioned earlier, this is a good place to start, regardless of whether you're kicking out CircleCI for the first time or you have experience with CircleCI. Now, if you're starting out for the first time, you can come here to our language guides, right? And selecting this will take you to this page where you can see a few GitHub repos that you can actually open with configuration files already built in. So let's take this one. Let's go with the Python one, for instance, and I'll just walk you through the process of getting this up and running on CircleCI. And so I would want to fork this to my organization. Looks like the demo gods are considering.
Oh, well, it's the internet's going, no, you will not, Sam.
Well, okay. We will let that think about what it wants.
That'll be fine. What's happening is of course you're streaming, and so you may have a slower internet than you're used to.
All right. Well, in that case, let's just jump directly into the platform then, and I'll talk through what I was going to show you then. So what you would do if you're coming to CircleCI for the first time and you had just forked this project into your organization, you can come into CircleCI's web app. A quick and easy way to get here is, again, surprise, surprise, from circleci.com/developer. Where was that? Okay, we just lost that here. And, okay. Here we go. And from this button over here that says go to application, you just click that and it'll drop you directly in the web application. Now, if you have not used CircleCI before, your page is going to look more something like, let's show this here. You go into login. You will start with this page where you get the option to log in with either GitHub, or Bitbucket, or with email. Now, someone might be asking, GitHub or Bitbucket, are those the only VCSs you support? Well, good news. As of yesterday, if I remember correctly, CircleCI also now supports GitLab as a VCS that you can trigger changes from. So in addition to GitHub and Bitbucket, you can now integrate GitLab into CircleCI as well. So just wanted to show you that because I'm already logged in, but this is what you will see if you're trying to log in for the first time. And so once you log in, and if you wanted to add a project to your build dashboard, what you will do is go into projects, and you can find all the projects that you have access to within your repository in this page. What you can do now at this point is scroll through the list of projects to find the one you're looking for. Or if you're coming from an organization where you have hundreds of projects and scrolling through 100 projects is not something you feel like doing in the mornings, you can just come in here, use this filter, this search bar, and search for the project that you are interested in.
Nice. Yeah, like me, I also don't like scrolling through 100 projects first thing in the morning. It's like,
oh, really? That's not fun for you?
No, I'd rather be drinking coffee.
All right. So yeah, if you want to be efficient about that, you can use the search bar here. And if you find that project, we have this handy dandy button here that lets you set up the project. You can click on that. I already have a config YAML in this repository, and so you can use that right away. All you have to do is specify which branch that config file is, and CircleCI will try to find it, except if it can't. Or you can have an option to add any of CircleCI's sample hello world configuration into the project. Now, this already has a config file built in, but once you click that, it quickly runs into the dashboard, and just like that, that's all it takes to have a project up and running on CircleCI. Now, that's for a simple project that has not been configured straight out of our tutorial. What I want to show you, however, is a project that I built out for a demo earlier. So this is a demo project. And within this view, this is your dashboard. You can filter this for any pipelines that everyone on your team might have triggered, or specifically for the ones that you have triggered. This comes in handy when you're working with your larger organizations, the larger organization. For instance, here, Olukotun-TS, that's my personal organization. The awesome CICD one that you see here is a team organization. And from here, you can filter for everyone's pipeline, or you can select for just the ones that you have triggered on your own. In addition to that, this view allows you to filter for specific projects. And after you select a project, you can also filter for specific branches. Now, going back to my organization here, the project I was going to show here is the Circle Demo Go. If we pick one, let's pick a branch here, the AWS branch. One cool feature I want to show here is the ability to actually trigger pipelines directly from this view manually. So let's say you have a run, just wanted to do an ad hoc run of your project, and you didn't want to push an empty commit just for the sake of triggering that run. CircleCI gives you the option to put in whatever parameters you need for that project to run directly in the UI here, and you can trigger the pipeline directly from this page. In addition to that, with all of these filters, you can also filter for the status of the workflows that have run within your organization. So you can check for things that have been canceled, that have been failed, that have succeeded, or that is still running. And this is just what this dashboard view gives you coming into CircleCI at a high level. From here, what I would like to show next is the workflow view. So when we say workflow on CircleCI, that's just a collection of all the jobs you want to run within your pipeline. And the workflow view is one that shows you how all of those jobs are related to one another. So for this particular demo, for this particular example, I'm showing a static analysis job that kicks off my pipeline. After that succeeds, I want to build an application, build with 2 versions of Go. I will run my tests, and when those tests succeed, I want to build and push my images upstream. Now, before we move on, I want to point out a few features that I'm taking advantage of here. First of all, these jobs running in parallel are running independently of one another, and are running in independent containers as well, independent environments. That allows you to orchestrate jobs that don't have dependencies on one another to run in parallel, thereby shortening or speeding up how quickly you can get from the beginning to the end of your workflows. And in addition to that, what I will show later in the config file is a matrix testing or matrix jobs in CircleCI that allows you to specify one job. In this case, I've specified a build job, and then pass in parameters where I've passed in the versions here, the 1.1.1.13 and 1.14. Those are parameters I pass into the build job, and CircleCI automatically expands that matrix and runs my build and my test job for me, thereby simplifying the configuration. From here, oh yeah, I'm glad you like that. And from here, another thing I wanted to show is the job view. So that's the workflow view. The level of detail lower than the workflow view is the job detail view. And from here, you get to see all the commands that have been run as part of that job. In addition to seeing the commands, you can see the output of each one of those commands. So by clicking any one of these, you can see what that output would have printed out to the terminal if you had run this locally. And in addition, you can also see things like what environment, like the resource class and what environment that job ran on. When I talk about resource class, we're just talking about the specs, essentially. So how much CPU and how much RAM that environment has. And the executor itself can be one of the machine executor in which you're going to be running that build on a VM, or you can be doing it in a Docker container. You can be doing it on Windows, or on macOS. So those are the
you got it. Yes, the third one.
Of course, yeah.
Hit 3 options. Nice.
So you keep that in mind in terms of the executors, and then combine that with the resource classes, where CircleCI has everything from small all the way to small, medium, large, and 2XL. So you get a wide variety of combination of executors and resource class that you can use for any sort of job that you'll be building on CircleCI. So that is the job view. I'd like to talk a little bit about configuration. But before I jump into that, I just wanted to pause to see if any questions have come in through the chat.
Excellent segue, Sam, because we have a question for you. Let me pop it up if I can find it again. Here we go. It's a question on. While I find it, I'll actually ask it. It's a question on cost and is it a subscription model? Could you explain more for the viewers? There we go. The CircleCI costing model. That'd be great.
Oh, shit. CircleCI is a usage-based pricing model. And so what that means is you will purchase a certain number. We talk about credits on CircleCI. And so for each one of those jobs that are in your pipeline, as each one of those jobs run, for every minute it's running, it consumes credits. So you only pay for the time when you actually have jobs running on CircleCI.
Nice. Probably I have a question as well, actually.
Right,
So you showed the list of jobs and how they run sequentially or indeed parallel. Are the jobs atomic? Like if a particular part of a job fails, can you run it from that point, or do you have to run the entire sequence again, or do you have a choice?
Great question. Let me show you in the web app, as that was one of the things I was going to
Excellent.
All right, so I'm going to jump back into sharing my screen here. And all right, so now we're back in the web app. I am showing you, this is a job that already succeeded. However, if this was one that failed, like the options are still going to be the same. Over here, where you have this rerun button, you have the option to rerun the workflow from start. You can rerun the workflow only from the job that have failed, or you can rerun only this particular job with SSH enabled. And so I'm guessing you're already aware of why you would want to run the job only from the one that has failed, or run your workflow only from a job that has failed, because that saves you credits. You don't want to rerun everything if you only know there's one job you want to succeed and then move on. The rerun job with SSH is another feature that comes in really handy for debugging, in the sense that once you rerun that job with SSH, it prints out a command that you can copy and paste in your terminal and directly SSH into the machine that's running that job. What that gives you is an opportunity to debug in real time within the environment that's actually running that job, giving you better control over an understanding of what's going on in that environment when the job is running. So that's how you'd rerun in that case.
Sam, does that rerun the whole workflow, or is it just that specific job?
This one will only rerun this job. Okay. But if you want to rerun the entire workflow, you click the one to rerun the workflow from start. Or if you only want to rerun from the job that has failed, you click the rerun workflow from failed.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool feature. Love it. Yeah, cool. Christopher, I think you have more questions for Sam.
Well, so I in a previous life, I have run engineering teams in the hundreds with dozens of different teams operating at once. Now, one of the issues that we have had in the past is when everyone is trying to build, everyone is trying to release, systems ground to a halt. So is that an issue with CircleCI? Is it something that it can solve, and how, if so?
Got it. It's a great question. Surprisingly enough, that's a problem that, like, even in this lifetime, some engineering teams are dealing with, where their builds are queuing and they have to wait for more, like builds that got into the queue earlier to build before they can complete their own builds. CircleCI offers unlimited concurrency on our platform. And what that means for engineering teams is that no matter how many people are submitting builds at a time, you're not waiting for other people's builds to finish before yours can kick off. Now, that might not sound like something too extravagant or extraordinary, but imagine those days on like a Thursday afternoons or Friday afternoons, God forbid, where everyone's trying to push the deploys through. Exactly. That is, you don't want to be sitting there for 20 minutes waiting for everyone else's build to finish before yours can kick off. And so CircleCI solves that problem by providing the higher levels of concurrency that allows you to just run as many builds as you need without needing to spin up additional infrastructure. CircleCI handles all of that for teams on the back end.
Nice. So you showed us a whole bunch of jobs that you're running. Is there a way to have an understanding? Like, is there a feedback loop from CircleCI? Like, can we see stats? Can we see what's going on in the system?
Oh, certainly. That's one of the things we actually pride ourselves on as a platform, is the level of metrics that we surface to users. And let me show you this in the
platform. That's it. Show by demo. Demo.
I want to see more.
There we go.
I want to really test these demo gods as much as
Oh, Christopher, don't push your luck. Come on. All right. So if we go back into my team's organization and I select our insights dashboard on the left here, what you will see is an overview of summary metrics for every project that is building within your organization. So this is a high-level view, and that you can even dive further deeper into. So some of the metrics that we provide here are just things like number of runs, average workflow duration, credits consumed, as well as success rates. This view can also be filtered by specific projects, and also for additional time windows here if you want to see these metrics over a different time window. Now let's pick our demo React project here to get more detail into what additional insights CircleCI provides. Is for each project, we'll give workflow details as well. And so this is just a summary of the same metrics that you saw on the previous page, only except at the workflow level. And even at this level, you can dive in deeper to go in for each individual workflow and then see this visualized in the actual insights dashboard that's going to plot those metrics in several views. One of those views you get is just the workflows run over time. You get a view of the success rates, you get a view of workflow duration, as well as credit usage. In addition to that, CircleCI adds additional insights reporting for the tests that run as part of that workflow. So here you can see things as just like the total number of tests. We also have flaky test detection, and this is something that not all CI/CD platforms have. But this is a feature on CircleCI that actually flags flaky tests for you, and you can see when those flaky tests get resolved and how.
What's a flaky test?
What's a flaky test?
I love the term flaky test. It's not a flaky test; it's flaky.
It's flaky. In the testing parlance, when we talk about flaky tests, we're talking about tests that pass on that fail, but then pass on the subsequent commit without anything changing. So imagine your code base not changing and the test decides to pass one day and then not pass the other day. Now that is a flaky test.
See, in Australia, we'd say dodgy. We'd say dodgy.
Dodgy.
A dodgy test? I like that. I like that.
Yeah, a rubbish test or...
Well, rubbish might be a little harsh. I want to be nice.
I know.
Test, so But yeah, so you get the point. At a high level, that's what we're trying to track here. Just so ideally, you want to rewrite those tests in a way that they are more consistent and more reliable. However, if you have flaky tests within your test suite, until you get to the point of fixing that tech debt, it's good to be able to track them and identify them and know which one of those tests are actually flaky. And so in addition to the flaky tests, we have things like we have reports for the most failed tests as well as the slowest tests in your suite. So that's what I would point to as when we talk about the insights. Those are the ones that are built directly into the platform. We also have an insight. We have insight endpoints on our API that allows you to fetch a lot of these metadata and feed them into any additional logging or dashboarding tools that you might have as well.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Sam, you give us a fantastic overview of CircleCI, and the demo gods have been kind so far. But after all, this show is building SaaS on AWS. So let's dive into some SaaS related questions. And so, really, the biggest advantage of using SaaS as a consumer is really that you don't have to maintain or run services that you use. So from that perspective, what are some of the advantages, and why would I use CircleCI?
Well, the advantages CircleCI ends up providing advantages across all levels of your organization. If let's talk about the engineers who are on the ground writing the code and trying to get their jobs built and deployed. For them, the advantages that CircleCI delivers is the fact that they are empowered to test and to experiment on different branches without having to worry about a centralized DevOps team controlling. Exactly, like the fact that a centralized DevOps team is not restricting what they can access to or which resources they can use. I just talked through, while I was going the demo, I spoke about resource classes and having the different compute sizes, different CPU and RAM. Imagine if you were writing test code, or you were writing more tests that needed more CPU. You don't have to wait. You don't need to submit a ticket to your DevOps team and wait for them to provision that resource for you. All it takes is a change in your config file, and you have the resources that you need to spin up. If your tests fail, for instance, you don't need to go to the DevOps team and have them SSH into the build container and tell you what's wrong with that. You as a developer yourself are empowered to SSH directly into that build and find out what's wrong with that. So for you as an engineer, as a product developer, those are the features, the value that CircleCI delivers as being a SaaS platform that you don't have to worry, or that isn't managed by a central infrastructure team. As I spoke to all of that, I also spoke to how that affects the DevOps team themselves, who are responsible for the infrastructure that the operations run on. The fact that the developers are so empowered to own the infrastructure and work through it means that the DevOps team isn't burdened with all this, what we would call trivial requests. These are heavy, important questions to the development team, but for the DevOps team, they have what we'll call more meaty tasks, more important initiatives that the engineering directors and their team leaders would rather have them focusing on than going in and spinning up one more EC2 container for the team. So within the engineering team itself, those are the benefits of relying on CircleCI as a SaaS platform for your CI/CD build. Now, if we take one more level up to the level of the engineering directors and your VP of engineering, for instance, the people who care about how much money you're burning as a developer, they're interested in doing more with less. And especially in today's economic situation, people don't want to spend more budget hiring more people. They don't want to buy more expensive tools. So working with CircleCI allows engineering teams to offload that burden of hiring full-time engineers just to maintain infrastructure. And so from that perspective, you're not spending extra dollars that you don't need to. And the infrastructure that you have is highly performant and highly empowering and allows your teams to move with high velocity. So when I think about the value of CircleCI as a SaaS CI/CD platform, those are the things that come to mind.
Oh, nice. Well answered, Sam. I'm just going to reiterate, we have some more people on the stream, so I'll just go over what we're talking about. If people have just jumped in and went, what's going on? So we're here for our monthly show, Building SaaS on AWS. SaaS, for anybody who doesn't know, and there's been some questions, is software as a service. And so what we do in the show every month is talk about solutions that you can build, SaaS solutions you can build on AWS, and best practices that you can adopt while building them. And today we're joined by the fantastic Sam from CircleCI. And if you've missed the demo, you can get the on-demand version. You can see the demo. And also Christopher from AWS. So that was just a sum up. So welcome everybody.
Nice.
Christopher, do you want to take the next question for Sam? I've talked enough.
I do. I do want to go back to the last answer though, just because I think it's important to reiterate on like the as a CTO or a VP of Eng or a head of engineering, the last thing you ever want to hear is a team say we couldn't release today because our build system wasn't up to scratch, or it was too slow, or we didn't have time to do it. So it being in the control of the developers and to be able to scale up and down is super important. However, if I go back to a question that we had before as well about the pricing structure in the free tier, so if you are taking it on free, what can you do? What can't you do, Sam? And do you get a lot of people who start on the free and then rapidly progress up, and for what reason?
Got it. All right. So I will take on the what can you do and what can't you do on the free plan. On CircleCI, with the free plan versus the paid plans, it just becomes a matter of how much concurrency you have access to and which resource classes you have access to. So for some of our larger resource classes, our more GPU intensive resource classes, those are not all going to be available on the free tier. However, you do still get access to a lot of I don't have the hard data, so I'm just going to say a lot of features that you would need in order to have a functioning CI/CD pipeline going. With that said, it ties directly into the second half of that question, which is a lot of teams start out with the free plan to start with. There are a lot of conversation with customers today who are on our annual plans where they started with a free plan, where they started with smaller teams, smaller code bases, a fewer set of repos. But as they grew and as they had more headcount, as they had more projects to work on, as they needed more complex infrastructure, they needed to move on into the higher tiers of the paid plans on CircleCI. And another thing that also leads teams to move into those paid plans, like I mentioned earlier when we're talking about the migration piece, is the value-added service of helping them take advantage of best practices on CircleCI. That's support engineer contribution. That's available only on the paid plan, not on the free plans. Although you would get responsive support ticket, you don't get that one-on-one time with a support engineer who can point out areas in your config that you can improve. So something like that alone is valuable to engineering teams who, like I said, they're trying to move faster. So they're trying to they want to squeeze out every ounce of juice of performance out of CircleCI platform. And in order to get there, you need someone who knows the platform, who understands all the features to show you where you can actually get those benefits.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Nice. So the question I have, Sam, that springs to mind is all around compliance. So compliance is a really a big topic area at the minute, and usually any part of your SaaS solution needs to be compliant if your product itself needs to be compliant. So can you talk to around, what sort of compliance CircleCI have validated their SaaS solution against?
Right. Yes, we are certified. We have our SOC 2 Type 2, with SOC 2 Type 2 compliant. We are also FedRAMP certified as well. And I also believe we are one of the CICD platforms that have been certified to run on AWS GovCloud as well. So that, as far as security certifications, we have a dedicated security team that works and is focused on building out the platform security itself. But on top of that, we do reach out to get these industry certifications and compliances as well.
Cool. That's cool that you can help as well. So if I was a customer and I needed compliance, how long would it take me to achieve that?
If you wanted to get certified yourself? That I don't know as much about the different timelines or how long it takes to get any one of those compliances. However, what typically happens is some customers, they'll have they know their security requirements, that their CI/CD platform has to have this set of compliances. And what we'll do then is just share our attestation of compliance with them to show them that we do meet those specific compliances. However, for the companies themselves who want to go and do certification for their own product independent of the CI/CD platform, that I can't speak. I don't know enough to speak to that.
I've done it. I've done it a couple of times. It's I mean, you're looking at a good 18 to 24 months.
Yeah,
it can take a while. Yeah,
it's depending on the level of compliance. It's,
absolutely.
So having CircleCI already compliant actually saves a lot of work.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely does. So Sam, look, we the one of the things that I do want to talk through is CircleCI is available on the cloud, but you can also deploy it on your own hardware, right?
That's right.
But being on the cloud, being on AWS specifically, are there specific, because look, everyone's looking for an advantage, and so am I, and so is everyone else who's on this call. What is the advantage of having CircleCI on AWS? Like, what do you get? What are the extras that we're throwing in?
Got it. All right. So off the top of my head, I'm thinking as far as advantages, as for engineering teams that already have a partnership with AWS, taking advantage of the EDP program, with the Enterprise Discount Program, right? So so taking advantage of that allows them to leverage budget or money that have been committed to operations infrastructure already towards CircleCI. In addition to that, something I can think of is AWS's investment in a wide array of infrastructure means that by leveraging the partnership with CircleCI, you can quickly orchestrate your cloud infrastructure with any resource class available to on AWS. So I spoke earlier about us having Windows, macOS, Linux, Docker resource classes, and a different CPU and RAM configurations. As extensive as that selection is, some customers are doing things that still require even larger GPUs or different sort of resources that are not available on CircleCI. Using our cloud platform, you can leverage our runners to build on any of that infrastructure that's available already on AWS. And I'm talking things like large GPUs or even macOS machines as well. So that's another place where I see that, and right away, Graviton 2. CircleCI is one of the few CICD vendors that has a cloud platform that allows customers to build on ARM. So that, off the top of my head, are some of the advantages that will surface as a result of that partnership.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's cool. That's cool. Because we just had while you were talking about Graviton, we just had a question from UGO about custom optimization. Obviously, if you're using cheaper compute, boom, exactly. Optimizing for cost. Nice. It's almost as if you'd seen the future and you knew that question was coming, and you want to talk about Graviton. Wow.
But yeah, Graviton, it's been an exciting launch for everyone in the industry, and also the partnership with AWS, between AWS and CircleCI. That's something that we've seen as just a unique value contribution where customers don't have to leverage, they don't have to build their own infrastructure or manage everything on their own in order to get the advantage of the Graviton 2 launch that AWS has provided. By having that partnership with CircleCI, customers can then leverage our cloud platform to do all their orchestration, and all they have to do is say that, okay, we want to build it on this particular backend from AWS. And so that's where a lot of that value does come through.
Cool, awesome. We actually so we're about 45 minutes in. We've got 15 minutes left. So anybody has any questions for Sam or Christopher around CircleCI and running SaaS on AWS, now's a chance to get them in. We have one from Code Fox, which is interesting, and I think I know the answer, but I'd just like to confirm. So Code Fox is asking, can CircleCI be accessed without going across the public internet if on AWS?
Oh, if you didn't want to use the public internet, that sounds like an on-prem install, if I'm understanding that question correctly.
Yeah, so so on AWS, you can have private subnets. So you can have something, if you have a direct connect on your on-premise connected to your AWS instances or your AWS accounts, you can do that via direct connect, which is secure and goes through. Doesn't go traverse the public internet. So yeah, that's so I think the question is, can CircleCI run on in that private subnet? It's pretty much what we're saying.
What you want to look to in that case is our IP ranges feature that allows you to limit what IPs the traffic can come in from into that subnet. So that would be something you could look into. Otherwise, again, I'll be thinking of our runner feature, which would allow you to have that build machine directly within the network and not need to send traffic out to the public internet.
Nice. Well answered. The other question is quite a good one from Frontier Recruits. Does CircleCI have any internships happening? You've obviously impressed Frontier Recruits, and they want to work at CircleCI.
I believe, okay, this is something I don't know as much about, but I believe we do have internships. I don't remember which teams are doing that, but okay, a quick way to do this, just go to circleci.com. I believe it's /careers, or you can just go to circleci.com, scroll to the bottom of the page. There's a careers link right there.
I'm going there right now.
Find a job. Christopher, are you?
Not that I'm looking for an
infected?
You've convinced Christopher as well.
I already have a job.
Yes.
So where are the offices, Sam? Where are the offices?
CircleCI is a globally distributed company. Our headquarters are in San Francisco, but we do have offices in Denver, in Boston. We have one in Europe, I want to say in London, and I believe we have an office in Japan as well. But yeah, so I might be wrong on one of those, but that's what I'm thinking off the top of my head.
Awesome.
Yep. There was one question from UGO. I'm going back to this one. You've got a lot of fans here, Sam. Where are you located?
I am in San Jose, California.
There you go. I hope that answered your question, Yukio. So I think also Frontier Recruits is very excited about the new career. Just finished the cloud practitioner and looking forward to internship at CircleCI. Awesome. Okay, so we're getting to the end of the show, and I'm just talking, so I need to stop talking and ask questions. So I think what we'll talk, maybe what we'd like to end these shows on is a call to action, Sam. So if people not really want to get an internship or want to know where you live, but I want to get started on CircleCI. Do you have any links or places to send them and help them get started?
All right, certainly. Surprise, surprise, here it comes. It's circleci.com/developer. You go there and you'll find a wide array of resources, including links to sample projects and tutorials with already built configuration files that you can start playing and experimenting with. And as Christopher pointed out earlier, CircleCI does have a free tier, so you don't have to pay to start using CircleCI and start experimenting with the features.
Nice. What about workshops? Do we have a workshop to get started, maybe?
I believe we do. We actually have one with AWS, a modernization workshop that goes through DevOps practices and how to take advantage of the orbs and the different integration that CircleCI has with AWS.
What a coincidence.
No, I know, that's fantastic. So, Christopher, while I'm posting all of those links on the chat, do you have anything else that you'd like to ask Sam while I do that?
No.
No.
But I can try and think of something that I want to ask Sam. Look, so Sam, there's CICD and DevOps, and I want to go a bit high level as well because I figure it's going to be an interesting question. There isn't always across the industry a great understanding of DevOps and the advantages of it, and where something like a CICD really has like a high level. And we're talking about greater than just CircleCI at this point. Where do you see, and I'm sure you've spoken to a huge amount of your customers, the greatest advantage of CICD? What is, in your view, like why should a company embrace it?
Wow, that is a complex.
We have 10 minutes left. Go.
Seriously, Christopher, We've done entire webinars on this one topic, and, and you throw this at the end for me. All right, so let's see the benefits of implementing CI/CD.
I can help you answer that too.
I have to pick just one.
Yeah.
For me, it's automation. I'll pick automation, and I pick automation because at a core level, I feel engineers know what's right. They know there should be unit testing. They know they should be doing end-to-end testing. They know all the right things they should be doing before they push their apps upstream. However, where the friction comes is the amount of time, how hard, how difficult, how much friction is it for them to get those DevOps best practices implemented. What a CI/CD platform delivers for you is essentially it's an automation of DevOps best practices. And all your engineers have to do is push their code into the repo and the best practices take care of themselves. So in my mind, that's where the key is the fact that all those best practices can be automated and we don't have to rely on engineers to be in the mood to do it or to be feeling good enough to do it.
That's a great answer for a question that you didn't even know I was going to ask. Yeah, look, I just want to build on that in very quickly, like the if we're able to take some of that decision making away, if we're able to make some of that take that ambiguity away from developers and people who are building and releasing every day, that means decision making can go to the things that are really important, and which is why products like this make a huge difference, particularly when you're building SaaS, and speed and quality is of utmost importance.
Exactly. And one thing I'll throw in there is our CEO used for those who don't know, our CEO, Jim Rose, he used this term in one of our meetings called the engineering focus. The fact that your engineers are not spending time maintaining infrastructure or trying to fix your CI/CD pipeline means they can actually focus on what they've been hired to do, which is their area of expertise in building out the product and delivering features at high velocity. So that's something else that the automation part enables or empowers them to do.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Nice. Well answered. One last question is from Mia Flores Ryder, who's been very active today in the chat. Thanks, Mia. Will CircleCI set up an office in Australia? And then she quantifies that by, not for me. They quantify that, sorry. Yeah.
Christopher, if we set up an office in Australia, would you move over then?
That's not something that I can answer.
That's a great question, Mia. Unfortunately, that is not something that I get to decide, but I'll pass that along and let folks know that there's demand for a CircleCI office in Australia.
We'll talk to them.
Awesome. Thanks for asking that question, Mia Flores Ryder. I think we've just started the office in Australia. Thank you. So it's coming. You heard it here first. So I could actually stay in the stream all day. So this is fantastic. I'll wrap up now, and we'll wrap up the show. Thanks very much, first of all, Sam, for coming on. It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I hope you had a good time.
I had a great time. This was wonderful.
Lovely.
Excellent. And Christopher, I hope you had a good time too, and I haven't scared you away, and you'll be back.
I'll be back as much as you can tolerate me.
Excellent. So that's the stream for this month. If you missed the start of the stream, we are here on twitch.tv/AWS every month. So the last Thursday, I believe, for APAC viewers, the last Wednesday for North American viewers, because of course Sam is on a different day than Christopher and I at the minute, which is like,
we're in the future.
We are. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching. You can catch the stream obviously on demand as well. And yeah, thanks very much. I think we'll just say bye-bye. Say bye-bye, everybody. Say bye-bye, Christopher.
Bye-bye.
Bye, folks. It was a pleasure.
Thanks very much. And we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.